Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hey, I'm Stephanie.
And today we're going to continue talking about deep fakes. We're going to try to tell you what they are and why they matter, why they're important to know about.
Right. It's our technology unit, and deep fakes are something that have been in the media a lot, especially since 2021 here in Taiwan, when we had kind of a deep fake scandal in which faces of pretty popular, pretty famous people were put on bodies in porn videos. They were sexually explicit videos. No one wants to be in a porn video. I know some famous people have been in porn videos. We're going to try to help educate you guys on what to look for, to know that these things are out there, and to be very careful who you trust. You can't just trust every news source or even the government, to be absolutely honest. So we're going to be talking about this for the rest of our program, as we always do, though. We're going to read through today's lesson. The problems deep fakes can cause might seem overwhelming. The tools and AI processes used to manipulate videos are becoming simpler and simpler to use. Many of them are free and open source, which means they are shared by researchers at advanced computing labs in the spirit of exploration and technological advancement. Unfortunately, the way they are used can humiliate people, as the porn examples demonstrate. The African country of Gabon provides us with another cautionary tale of deep fakes. In 2019, the country faced a military coup based on just the suspicion that their president's annual address was a deep fake. The possibility of dismissing a genuine video as a deep fake is just as dangerous as the acceptance of a fake video as truth. What tools do we have to identify them? Intuition is not enough, though it can be useful. To expose deep fakes, especially sophisticated ones, we must attend to certain details while still engaging with and assessing the video as a whole. The Media Lab at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology conducted a research project to determine what those subtle details were, as well as to see if the researchers could exploit these details to train an AI to automatically analyze and label fake videos. They boiled their research down into a few points that focus a viewer's attention on the face of the subject of a video. Since nearly all high-quality deep fakes manipulate the face, look for unexpected shadows and texture changes, as these are areas the deep fake algorithms often have trouble with. MIT Media Lab has a website to help the public practice spotting deep fakes. Test your intelligence against an AI and see how you do.
Okay, again, we're going to continue talking about what deepfakes are and why they're important, why they matter, and why we need to know more about them. So the problems deepfakes can cause might seem overwhelming. Now, if something is overwhelming, it is just too much. It's just great in amount, and it's very difficult to handle it. You can have an overwhelming feeling of grief if you lose a close family member. The feelings can be overwhelming. They can just be too much for you to handle. You'll probably break down and start crying yourself. And indeed, the problems can be overwhelming. It seems that the problems they cause could be endless. We might have a really messy society if these deep fakes are allowed to continue.
Things can be overwhelming at work. Say you have too many tasks that the boss gives you and your work is overwhelming you, or your emotions can be overwhelming. If your emotions take control and overwhelming you, you might cry. Try not to do that at work. That's not cool. The problems that these deepfakes can cause might seem overwhelming. How do you deal with something if it's just too big a task to tackle? So the tools and AI processes, AI, of course, is artificial intelligence. These processes that are being used to manipulate videos are becoming simpler and simpler to use, meaning if the software is pretty easy to figure out, more and more people are going to be making these deep fakes. Many of them are free, and we're talking about the processes and the tools. Some of the software is free, and it's open source. If it's open source, it means somebody did put together the code behind the software, but they also welcome other coders, people who are computer programmers, to add to that to make the program better. Open source. Now, if it's an app that you have to download and pay for, those things are not open source, or software that you must buy. That's definitely not open source.
Right, so of course people can download these apps from the internet pretty easily, and they can manipulate videos using this technology. And of course the tools and AI processes are getting really easy to use. Even a regular idiot could use it probably. And many of them are free and open source, as you said. They can be shared by researchers and advanced computing labs in the spirit of exploration and technological advancement. So here we've got in the spirit of, which means with the feeling or with the mutual understanding that something is the case. So yes, these computer labs and researchers are doing this in the spirit of exploration. Hey, we're doing this to find out more things about technology and about software and stuff like that. You might have a special game for, or a special kind of presentation at a baseball game, for example, to recognize a player on the other team. That would be in the spirit of sportsmanship because you recognize their contribution to the sport and stuff like that. So you're doing this in the spirit of sportsmanship, and in this particular case, they're doing it in the spirit of exploration and advancing the technology. They're doing this for the mutual good, I suppose, of humanity.
So in the spirit of good sportsmanship, you might see the opposite team give you applause when you make a great play. They usually don't do that. Or maybe if an opposing team has a player that is injured, you'll often see everyone clap. They're not happy that that player has been injured. They're just saying that they feel bad about it and they hope he's okay. That's what that applause represents, by the way, in case you were wondering. But that's in the spirit of good sportsmanship, right? Now, unfortunately, the way they are used, the way these videos are used, can actually humiliate people, as the porn examples demonstrate. If you humiliate someone, you make them feel really ashamed and foolish, embarrassed. By injuring them, maybe their dignity, their reputation, their self-respect, you don't want to humiliate anyone. For example, it would be really bad form to humiliate your teacher and say, oh, you've mispronounced that word, teacher. You should try practicing your English diction more. We don't do that. So they use these videos oftentimes to poke fun at and humiliate people that they feature in the deep fakes.
To embarrass them or maybe to cause them to resign or something like that. And this, of course, is how the porn examples demonstrate this to us. Now, the African country of Gabon provides us with another cautionary tale of deep fakes. Now, in the year 2019, the country of Gabon in West Africa faced a military coup based on just the suspicion that their president's annual address was a deep fake. So, yes, indeed, there was a military coup in that country. That's when the military takes over. There was a military coup in Burma or Myanmar fairly recently as well.
Myanmar, yeah.
And there, of course, are always coups going on in Thailand every couple of years. So in this particular case, there was a coup in Gabon. And it was all based on the suspicion that the president's annual address was a deep fake. So they suspected that it was fake. I guess it was real, but they were afraid that it was a fake. So for some reason, this caused a military coup, all because of this video.
A military coup is when the military takes control of the government. So they oust the leaders and they take control instead. Sometimes coups happen because the government leaders are corrupt. It happens a lot that way, actually. So they faced a military coup because people thought that the president's annual address was a deep fake. Now, suspicion is the noun form of the verb to suspect. If you have a suspicion that something's true or false. It just means you have a feeling that something is possible or likely or true. Maybe you have a suspicion that your neighbor has been stealing your newspapers. So instead of going out in the morning and picking up your newspaper, you go outside and it's gone. And you think, I think it might be my neighbor. I have a suspicion that my neighbor's stealing it. So a suspicion, again, is just that thought or feeling that someone is guilty of doing something. It could be an illegal or dishonest act, or maybe something they've done that's unpleasant. The country was facing a military coup based on, or just because they had a suspicion that their president's annual address, that's a big speech, not where he lives. An address is when somebody gets up and gives a speech or a talk. They thought that was a deep fake.
Yeah, and I think it was just an attempted coup, but still it was based on this deep fake. And the possibility of dismissing a genuine video as a deep fake is just as dangerous as the acceptance of a fake video as truth. So yes, indeed, sometimes we suspect that a video is fake, so we might dismiss a genuine video as a fake. So if you see a video that that depicted something that really happened, a lot of people may say, oh, that's probably fake. It's a fake video. So there is this possibility people may dismiss that video. They may say, nope, that's not true. We don't believe it. If you dismiss something, you just kind of don't regard it as true. You ignore it. So they'll dismiss this video. And it's a genuine video. It's a true video, real video.
Authentic video.
Authentic, there you go. And they'll dismiss it as a deep fake. That's just a fake video. Don't believe that. And that might be just as dangerous as accepting a fake video as the truth. So it goes both ways.
It does go both ways. So if you've got a news organization or your government telling you that a video is a deep fake, don't just take that as truth. Do your own research, and you might discover that they are lying to you. So make sure you aren't fooled either way, either by a deep fake that is fake, or maybe a video that isn't a deep fake, it's real. So make sure you know what you're doing. You're going to have to do some research on your own. That's what our world's about now. You can't trust anything. You have to do your own research. Right now, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Listen to our Chinese teacher. Now, our Chinese teacher never produces anything that's false. You can trust our Chinese teacher. We'll be back.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。我们今天讲解的是3月份 Unit16 Deepfakes 第2天的课程。在第1天的课文里面，我们看到 Deepfakes 引发了哪些问题？在台湾，因为有名人受害而受到媒体关注。不过，这个问题到底有没有解决的方法呢？这是第2天课程探讨的内容。好，我们一起看看第1段的学习重点吧。首先，请同学看到第3个句子 Many of them are free and open source, which means they are shared by researchers at advanced computing labs in the spirit of exploration and technological advancement. 这意味着高阶云端运算实验室的研究人员，他们本着探索和技术进步的精神，所以请同学特别把 in the spirit of 画起来，本着什么样子的精神？好的，所以很多人呢，高阶运算实验室的研究人员，他们就是本着探索和技术进步的精神，愿意去分享这些资源。再来，请看到第4个句子 Unfortunately, the way they are used can humiliate people, as the porn examples demonstrate. 这里的 as 请画起来，如同就是有很多时候这些深伪技术其实是被运用来羞辱人、侮辱人的。As the porn examples demonstrate, 就如同呢前面所指的这些性爱影片的例子所可以看到的。再来，请看到第5个句子。The African country of Gabon provides us with another cautionary tale of deepfakes. 请同学把 cautionary tale 画起来。Cautionary tale 就是足以引以为戒、足以引以为警惕的故事。再来，请看到第6个句子。In 2019, the country faced a military coup. 请同学特别注意发音，这里虽然字尾有 P， 但是不发音，就是军事的叛变、军事政变。好，所以我们知道说这些 Deepfakes 其实引发的问题很多哦。再来，我们看到第7个句子 ，The possibility of dismissing a genuine video as a deepfake is just as dangerous as the acceptance of a fake video as truth。这个句子稍微复杂一点，请注意听哦。这边的意思是把真正的影片归类为深伪技术的可能性，与接受伪造影片是真实的一样危险。所以到底什么跟什么一样危险呢？就是 dismissing a genuine video 这件事情，就是去否决一个真实的影片，你把它当作 deepfake。Dismissing a genuine video as a deepfake， 把真实的影片当作 deepfake。那这样做跟什么样一样危险呢？ It's just as dangerous as the acceptance of a fake video as truth， 就是我们把一个假造的影片接受它，那接受这是真实的这件事情当然是不好的。Acceptance of a fake video as truth。好，不论是 dismiss 或者是 acceptance， 我们可以看到它后面的介系词都是用 as， 把 A 视为 B。We're
going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're on day 2 of our technology unit, and we're talking about deepfakes, what they are and why they matter.And when we left you, we were talking about how there are problems with deepfakes, and they can sometimes seem overwhelming. How are we supposed to figure out if they're fake or not? I mean, even people who are really good at videos can't tell sometimes. There are tools and AI processes that are used to manipulate videos that are becoming easier to use.They're simpler to use, and so anyone could try and manipulate videos. So we're going to see more and more of this as time goes on, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, things are getting technologically speaking, so it's going to be harder to tell the difference. You're going to have to do more research and find some sources of news that you really trust. And they're not necessarily the stations on TV or the newspapers.Find out who you think is a really good reporter who doesn't mind exposing the truth no matter what, and see if you might support them and follow them.
Okay, so we have deepfakes out there, and we want to tell which is real and which isn't. So what tools do we have to identify them? How can we identify the deepfake videos and know that they're fake? Well, intuition is not enough, though it can be useful. Now, intuition is kind of like the sixth sense. You just kind of have a feeling about something. You can look at the thing and think that, oh, that's fake. I can tell it's very fake. I don't know exactly why, but it looks fake. So that's intuition.
Yeah.
You just kind of have this special feeling in your gut. But that's not enough, although it can be useful. It can be a good starting point.It
can be useful. I think a lot of people have a good sense about this stuff, especially if they have kept on top of the news and they see that the news over the last few years has been proven to be false, a lot of it. So you need to do your own research. That's my best advice. Now, to expose or to reveal these deepfakes, especially sophisticated ones,We must attend or pay attention to certain details while still engaging with and assessing the video as a whole. If something sophisticated, especially if you're talking about a product or a machine or a system, it means it's pretty complex. It's got a high degree of complexity to it. So it's not easy. It's not a simplified thing. It's very sophisticated, meaning...If you haven't done any learning or research or study on that particular thing, it might be very involved for you. You might not be able to really figure it out. Some software out there is very sophisticated. So I try to look for the simpler, more beginner versions of everything. And then as I get more skills, then I can look at the more sophisticated software that is produced. But at the beginning, you might want to look at things that are a little bit less technical and less difficult. But that's the problem. Some of the videos out there are very sophisticated. So they're done by people who know what they're doing.
And who want to be convincing. And so we're not talking about teenagers tinkering with their PCs at home.
Or just posting something on TikTok that's obviously silly.
Right. We're talking about maybe some bad people in Russia or various places who are doing this to cause problems in elections and things like that, or in political systems around the world. So they're going to be using sophisticated software, and these videos are going to be very sophisticated as well. So to expose them, we must attend to certain details while still engaging with and assessing the video as a whole. So if you attend to something, you pay attention to that thing, you consider that thing. So you need to keep those details in mind, but you still need to engage with the video, okay? You need to watch the whole video and see it as a whole. You need to assess the video as a whole. First of all, you look at the little parts, then you look at the whole thing together, and hopefully at the end of your analysis, you can determine whether the video is fake or not.
Now, if you assess something, and we're using this as a verb, it just means you look at it, you evaluate it, you determine the quality or the ability of something or what something's about. You assess it. Of course, the noun form is assessment. And if you have a job, you might have to be assessed or go through some sort of assessment to determine what your skills are or how you perform during the year. Now, this media lab at MIT, they conducted a research project to determine what those subtle details were. If something's subtle, it's very small. So if you aren't paying attention, you're not going to see it. Maybe someone made some subtle changes to their style. Maybe they're, changing their hairstyle just a little bit, but the change was really subtle. It means you have to look and really pay attention to be able to see it. So they're doing a research project to actually determine what those subtle details were. They're going to be able to look and see at the very small changes, unlike most of us who aren't sophisticated enough to know what to look for. And they're going to see if the researchers could exploit or take advantage of these details to train an AI or that robot, that computer, to automatically analyze and label fake videos. What does it mean to analyze, Tom?
You kind of assess something, basically. It's the same thing or very similar in meaning. You kind of examine it using various methods and you look at all the details and then you come to some conclusions. So you conduct a marketing survey and then afterwards you have to analyze the data to figure out how to sell your product to certain sectors of the market. So in this particular case, yes, or this particular software, I guess you could say, or this machine or this technology will analyze all the details to determine whether a video is fake or whether it is genuine. Now, they boiled their research down into a few points that focus a viewer's attention on the face of the subject of a video, since nearly all high-quality deepfakes manipulate the face. That makes sense. You're trying to make somebody look bad or make them look good in a video, so of course you're going to focus on the face. And here we've got the phrase to boil down. That means you kind of make a conclusion. You kind of get to the main focus of something. You kind of ignore all the unimportant information and go right for the important stuff. So they boiled their research down into a few points. They focused on those few points. And, of course, we focus on the viewer's attention on the face because, yeah, that's where the manipulation occurs.
Typically, yeah, for the high-quality deepfakes, they're going to be manipulating the face. Now, look for unexpected shadows. If you're a photographer, you know what we're talking about. That is a dead giveaway, the shadows. I've had people point that out on screens so I can see that that's a deep fake. You're also looking for texture changes. Texture refers to the smoothness of something. If you're talking about fabric or material, it could be a silk where the texture is smooth. or a wool where it's more bumpy. So it's the feel, the consistency, the appearance of a surface or even a substance. That's the texture. Food has texture. If you're eating pudding, it's very smooth to the tongue, smooth to the taste. If you're eating, for example, potato chips, the texture is kind of rough and crispy. So you're going to be looking for shadows and texture changes. And these are areas the deep fake algorithms often have trouble with. Of course, the algorithms are how the AI is working to detect things on the internet. You know that Facebook uses algorithms to post things and to remove videos. It's just a set of rules that are followed in calculations. It's a mathematical formula, to be honest.
Yeah, basically it's a tool that computers use to complete a certain task. And MIT Media Lab has a website to help the public practice spotting deepfakes. Test your intelligence against an AI and see how you do. So go online somewhere. MIT Media Lab has a website where you can go practice and you can try to spot deepfakes yourself and then watch some of the videos that you watch on YouTube and see if they're real or if they're fake based on your education at this MIT website. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our very real Chinese teacher.
好，接着我们看到第二段的第一个句子，我们要辨识这些 deepfakes 的影片，有没有什么方法 ？What tools do we have to identify them? Identify 就是要指认出，这个就是深伪所制造的影片。Identify。在第二句 ，intuition is not enough， 光靠直觉不够。Intuition 是直觉的意思。再来，请看到第三个句子。To expose deepfakes， 这边的 expose 指的就是揭穿、揭露。To expose deepfakes, especially sophisticated ones， 特别呢是制作的特别细腻的深伪影片。We must attend to certain details while still engaging with and assessing the video as a whole。请同学把 attend to 这个动词片语画起来，它原本有照料、照顾的意思，在这里呢则是指Pay attention to。 再来，我们看到第四个句子。第四个句子呢，稍微复杂了一点，请看到这里有两个重点。第一点呢 ，conducted a research project to determine， 这里是不定词表示目的，进行一项研究专案要做到两件事，中间用 as well as 来连接。第一件事是 to determine what those subtle details were。而第二件事是 to see if the researchers could exploit these details to train an AI to automatically analyze and label fake videos。 再来，第二个重点要请大家注意的是 exploit these details 之后又有不定词表示目的 train an AI， 训练 AI 人工智慧做两件事。哪两件事呢？分别是 automatically analyze 自动分析and label 标记 fake videos 就是自动分析还有标记伪造影片这两件事。再来第三段的第一个句子 They boiled their research down into a few points 研究人员把研究浓缩成几个重点。以上就是我们第二天的中文解说，谢谢大家。
That's it for today's lesson, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and please join us again next time. And hopefully all the videos that you watch online are genuine and they are not deep fakes. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.